Hey everyone, ready to jump into some seriously cool AI stuff.
Always up for that.
So we're going to be dissecting NVIDIA's new NV LMD 72B model.
This one's a big deal, right?
Yeah, the article we're looking at calls it a potential game changer. And they might actually be right.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. It's looking pretty revolutionary.
So no matter if you're like a total AI geek or an investor or just love seeing what crazy tech is coming next, this deep dive is for you. We'll break down exactly what this model is, what makes it special, and how it could change, well, everything.
And what's really interesting is this isn't some small update. This has the potential to change how we even think about AI.
And we're pulling all this from an article that really digs into NV LMD 72B.
It's a fascinating read.
But let's start basic. Can you give us a clear picture of what NV LMD 72B actually is?
Okay, imagine a massive network, 72 billion points. Each point, a parameter, is a bit of knowledge the model learned. Now, this model is part of NVIDIA's NVLM 1.0 series. But what's groundbreaking is its multimodal capability.
Hold on, multimodal. That's where it gets really interesting, right? It's not just about language like we see with a lot of AIs.
Exactly. Unlike models like GPT-4, which are amazing with text but stuck there, NV LMD 72B processes and understands both text and images. It's like it can read an article and analyze the picture next to it to get the full meaning.
So it's not just reading, it's seeing and understanding more like us. Wow, that's huge. The article goes into some crazy examples of this multimodal magic in action. Can you walk us through some?
Absolutely. Imagine teaching an AI to get humor in memes. Text-based AI. Failure, it's all about the image. NVLMD 72B, though, it gets it. Processes the image, connects it to the text, understands the nuance, the humor.
So we're talking about an AI that laughs at the same memes we do.
Amazing.
Maybe a tiny bit creepy. But on a practical level, imagine this in research or data analysis.
Exactly. Think of a scientific paper with charts and graphs everywhere. NVLMD 72B processes it all, connects the visuals to the explanation, something we've never had before. It's a research assistant who not only reads but truly understands those visuals.
Huge for anyone working with data. From finance to medicine, it's like having an AI that sees the whole picture, literally. But hold on, everyone, because this deep dive is about to get even wilder. We've got this insanely powerful multimodal AI, but it's open source.
Now that is a game changer.
Can you break down what that means and why it's freaking out the entire tech world?
Think of it like this. A world-famous chef not only shares their best recipe, but also tells you how to tweak it to your liking.
Okay, that's a delicious analogy.
That's essentially what NVIDIA is doing here. They're making the weights think building blocks and the training code, basically the instructions, public. Anyone can use them.
So it's not just about using this crazy powerful AI, it's about understanding how it works and maybe even building on it. That's insane. Most tech companies, especially in AI, they guard their stuff like it's gold.
Yeah, this is a huge change. NVIDIA is basically saying, here's the blueprint, let's see what we can all do together.
I can already picture the panic in some boardrooms. This is an earthquake.
Yeah.
So before the break, our minds were officially blown by NVLMD's multimodal skills and that whole open source earthquake it's causing. But the article says this thing could be even bigger than ChatGPT, that NVLMD 72B might actually be better.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
Which is wild. How could an open source model, even one this amazing, be better than, the big dog?
Well, it all comes back to those multimodal skills we talked about. Being able to process images, ND text, gives NVLMD 72B a head start in doing things that need more than just words. Stuff like medical imaging, self-driving cars, anything with visual analysis. But get this, it's not just better with visuals, it's crazy good at stuff that's only text too.
Wait, what? It can analyze images, but it's still going up against and maybe even beating AIs that only do text.
Exactly. In tests, NVLMD 72B was more accurate in things like math and coding. It's like it trained for a marathon and then found out, hey, I'm also a crazy good sprinter.
Okay, color me impressed. But let's be real. ChatGPT's got this massive company behind it, constantly making it better. How can an open source model, even with a global team, keep up?
That's the beauty of open source. Imagine thousands of brilliant people all over, each adding their own expertise to this model. The article suggests that this team effort could make things move way faster than a closed system like ChatGPT, like that wisdom of the crowd thing, but on a global scale.
So we've got this powerful, adaptable AI. It understands pictures and words. It's open source. Might even be smarter than ChatGPT in some ways.
Yeah.
Sounds too good to be true. What's the catch?
You're right, every technology has its downsides. The article does mention a few, mostly around it being open source. Making something this powerful available to everyone is amazing, but also needs some serious thought.
Okay, so what kind of risks are we talking about with this level of open access?
One concern is misuse. This kind of power in the wrong hands. We need to be really careful about how it's used. It's like discovering a new, super efficient energy source, incredible potential, but it could be used for good or for bad.
So it's about making sure it's used ethically, responsibly. That's a big responsibility for everyone, not just NVIDIA.
Definitely. The article really stresses the need for guidelines for everyone developing this technology to do it responsibly. The hope is that the open source community, being so spread out and collaborative, can help prevent misuse. We all have to work together to make sure AI benefits everyone.
Absolutely. Really important point. Let's switch gears for a sec and talk about what makes NVLMB 72B tick. What can you tell us about how it's built, its architecture? How is it different from other AIs?
Well, NV LMD 72B is unique because it's a hybrid. It's not just one way of processing info, but a bunch of techniques combined, like a super high-tech car engine. It's got the turbocharger for speed, but also the fuel-efficient system for the long haul. NV LMD 72B does something similar with how it handles text and images, which makes it incredibly adaptable.
So it's got the best of both worlds, combining strengths to make something even more powerful. I like it.
And here's where it gets really cool. It breaks a common trade-off we see in AI. Usually, if you try to make an AI good at both text and visuals, one of them suffers. It's like trying to be a world-class chef and a concert pianist at the same time. Tough to master both. But NVLMD 72B somehow does both. And get this, it actually gets better at text even after being trained on tons of visual data. That's how well designed this thing is.
Sounds like they found a way to have their cake and eat it, too.
Yeah.
Impressive. But let's zoom out for a second. We've touched on the impact of this tech, but what do you think? How do you see NVLMD 72B changing the future of AI down the line? Big picture stuff.
I think this is a turning point for AI, for sure. If NVLD 72B does what it's showing it can do, and the article makes a strong case, it could change the entire tech industry.
Wow, so we're talking about changes far beyond just NVIDIA. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, right now, companies see their AI models as their crown jewels, their secret weapons. But what if open source models, with people all over contributing and making them better super fast, start doing better than those closed systems? That changes everything.
So instead of AI being something companies hold on to and sell, it becomes a shared thing, a base to build even more innovative stuff on.
Exactly. It could completely change how we think about creating and selling AI. Instead of just selling AI as a product, we might see companies offering specialized services that use the power of open source models like NVLMD 72B. Imagine a world where companies, researchers, developers, everyone can tap into this pool of AI knowledge and create incredible things together.
That's a powerful image. From guarded secrets to a shared resource that elevates everything. It's exciting and a little bit intimidating all at once. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, though, let's bring it back down to earth for our listeners. What does this all mean for them? Why should they care about some new AI model, even if it is as impressive as NVLD 72B?
You're right. That's the important question. I think the big takeaway here is just how unbelievably fast AI is moving. And this open source approach, that could make things go even faster.
So it's not just about this model, it's about what it represents, what it could lead to.
Right. The future of AI is being decided now, and NVLMD 72B is a major part of that. It shows that the biggest breakthroughs often come from people working together, being open, sharing what they know.
That's a fantastic point. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into NVLMD 72B. We've covered a lot, what it can do, its potential impact, even some of the challenges it brings. But like always, we urge you to explore further, read the article, and come to your own conclusions. Because the future of AI, we're all shaping it together. So we're back, diving deep into the world of NVLMD 72B. It's seriously impressive stuff, but before we get ahead of ourselves, I'm curious about the nuts and bolts. Expert speaker, what about its architecture? What makes this thing tick?
Well, what's really cool about NVLMD 72B is that it's a hybrid. It doesn't just rely on one approach to process information. It combines a bunch of different techniques.
Okay, so it's like taking the best parts of different approaches and putting them all together.
Exactly. Think of it like a high-performance car engine, you know? It's got the turbocharger for those bursts of speed, but also a system for fuel efficiency on those long hauls. NVLMD 72B is similar. It combines different ways of handling text and images, which makes it incredibly adaptable.
So it's got the best of both worlds, pulling together different strengths to create something even more powerful. I like that.
And what's really remarkable is that it breaks a common trade-off we see in a lot of AI models. Usually, when you try to make a model good at both text and visual processing, one area suffers. It's tough to master both. But NVLMD 72B somehow manages to excel at both. It's incredible. It actually improves its text capabilities even after being trained on a massive amount of visual data. It really speaks to how well designed this model is.
It sounds like they've cracked the code, finding a way to have their cake and eat it too. But let's step back for a moment and talk about the bigger picture. We've already touched on the potential impact of this tech, but I'd love to get your take on it. How do you see NVLMD 72B shaping the future of AI in the long run?
Honestly, I think this is a major turning point for AI. If NVLMD 72B lives up to its potential, and the article certainly suggests it could trigger a domino effect across the entire tech world.
So we're not just talking about a shift in AI, but a shift in the entire tech landscape. It's massive. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, think about it. Right now, a lot of companies view their AI models as their most valuable assets, their secret sauce. But what if these open source models, with their collaborative development and rapid innovation, start to outperform those closed systems? That changes the whole game.
So instead of AI being a product that companies keep locked away, it becomes more of a shared resource, something that everyone can benefit from.
Exactly. It could lead to a fundamental shift in how we think about AI. We might see a move away from companies selling AI as a standalone product and toward a model where they're providing services that build upon these open source foundations. Imagine a world where companies, researchers, developers, everyone can tap into this shared pool of AI knowledge and collaborate on building incredible things.
It's like moving from a world of walled gardens to a bustling metropolis where everyone can contribute and benefit. It's an exciting and honestly a slightly daunting vision of the future. But before we get too caught up in all the possibilities, let's bring it back down to earth for our listeners. Why should they care about NVLMD 72B? What does it mean for them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? For me, the biggest takeaway here is the sheer speed at which AI is advancing. It's incredible. And this open source approach has the potential to accelerate that progress even further.
So it's not just about this one model, but about what it represents for the future of the entire field.
Absolutely. NVLMD 72B is a major development. It really highlights how the most groundbreaking innovations often come from collaboration, transparency, and a willingness to share knowledge.
Couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into NVLMD 72B. We've explored its capabilities, its potential impact, and even some of the challenges it presents. But like always, we encourage you to delve deeper, read the article, and form your own conclusions. The future of AI is a story that's still being written, and we're all a part of it.